Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're jumping straight into the ledger of residual pulses. Imagine, if you will, reading a beautifully illustrated, incredibly bleak graphic novel where the universe itself is just fading away. What we're looking at today is a grim, dark parable that really digs into existence, philosophy, and what actually happens to truth when reality is actively being erased.
So, right off the bat, here's the ultimate mystery we're wrestling with today. What happens to truth in a dying universe? Seriously, when everything around you is slowly being canceled out by the void, what is left? As we're going to see, in a reality defined by this looming emptiness, truth isn't about grand, sweeping revelations anymore. It's strictly about survival. It's about the stubborn, lingering residue of things that just absolutely refuse to vanish.
Okay, let's look at construct action versus true function to really understand this world, starting with its silent observers. Take the clockwork owl. Physically, its action is flying in these low circuits over an accelerated garden. As it passes, dual-grown leaves turn in this coordinated response, all driven by the residual discharge of these three mysterious dark fire coils. But its true function? Well, it's completely neutral. Its memory coils are wide open, recording without any interpretation at all. Data remains just data, waiting for a cartographer who honestly might never even arrive to make sense of it.
Which brings us to Alara the Honest Guest and her profound distrust of permanence. We find Alara inside her workshop, actively testing a synthesized honest pulse against the absolute newest ratios released by a force known simply as absolute zero. Her entire existence, her role as this watcher and recorder in the ledger, is defined by trusting absolutely nothing to last.
You can really see this philosophy in Alara's workshop protocol. Her calibrations, they're incredibly deliberate but totally provisional. Her detector is picking up these faint directional tensions that literally were not there the day before. Actually, she treats every single reading as temporary, because in this universe, permanence is a claim her ledger has already learned to ignore. Once a survey is logged on her metaphysical map, she immediately packs up her instruments, securing them in traveling order. Analysis is dead here. Readiness replaces analysis. You don't analyze a future that might not happen, you just stay ready for the end. Let's trace the journey of what the text calls the soft error. Out of nowhere, without any warning, a small ripple moves through the honest pulse. The timeline goes like this. First, the owl's coils retain the signature. Then, in Alara's ledger, her watch ticks once against no external hour, her bracelet physically tightens, and her detector logs a microspike pointing to nowhere on a physical map. From there, this ripple travels through the void, a distance that ordinary geometry just cannot name, until it finally reaches her brain as pure pressure without a message.
Now, to fully grasp what just happened, we have to talk about philology, because language itself is degrading right along with this nihilistic world. The definition of a pulse has changed. It's no longer just a cartographer's diagnostic rhythm. Because reality is breaking apart, it has become a fractured medium. It's the only thing capable of carrying residual contact across negation itself. Think about that. A pulse is literally the only thing strong enough to push through the active erasure of the universe.
And that brings us to the definition of honest. In a dying reality, an honest pulse, or an honest guest, offers zero guarantee of clarity. Language is straining to just hold this occurrence together without adding any sort of consoling structure or false hope. Honest purely guarantees that the incomplete, fractured signal hasn't been deliberately falsified. That's it. It's the universe's absolute lowest bar for truth. Raw, unmanipulated data just persisting in the dark. So let's compare Alara's workshop with the Labyrinth City, because that soft error is bridging a massive gap between two completely isolated characters. On one side, Alara's space, instruments ready, metaphysical maps open, active sensors pinging, pure readiness. On the other side, far beneath the dark star, is the Labyrinth City. The atmosphere here is just total dread. Auras are thinned, names have literally been cancelled by the universe, and in this endless, dark maze walks the residue of Sir Brain.
Cessation remained the single action still refused. When that ripple from Alara's workshop crosses the void, it hits Sir Brain on a level way beneath conscious calculation. His thinned aura flickers. A cancelled name almost reforms before dissolving again. So why does he keep walking this endless labyrinth? Because of this quote right here. He continues simply to defy the end. That pulse reaches him, and even though it's pure pressure without a message, he refuses to stop.
This whole dynamic perfectly defines the nihilistic arithmetic governing the moment. Look at these rules. Continuity alone is a massive expenditure of energy. meaning it's no longer universal. It's strictly a local assertion that the larger, approaching cancellation just hasn't reached quite yet. And that ripple? It changes nothing essential about the rising zero or the terrifying fact that the obsidian sea remains unopened. In this universe, the math always points to zero.
So step back and think about this for a second. Why record anything if cancellation is inevitable? I mean, seriously, if the obsidian sea is sitting there waiting to open and the rising zero is an absolute, mathematical certainty, why bother? Why does the Clockwork Owl maintain its circuit? Why does Ilara meticulously calibrate her instruments? What is the point of recording data when universal erasure is coming for sure?
Well, the text gives us this incredibly powerful answer. Recording produces a surface on which later pressure changes can land. By acting as the honest guest, Ilara creates that surface. It's this ultimate, stubborn defiance against the end of all things. By just writing it down in her ledger, she gives the event reality, creating a space for future impact, even if it's only for a fleeting, temporary moment.
And this is exactly how the workshop connects to the Labyrinth City. It's two incomplete ledgers refusing to close at the same instant. Ilara is standing there with her instruments ready. The owl's coils hold the exact signature of that ripple. And miles away, deep beneath a dark star, Sir Brain's residual will carries that exact same signature forward as the labyrinth rearranges around him. The soft air persists between them, not because the universe needs it to, but because these two isolated ledgers have simply refused to close at the exact same moment. They share this one silent signature of defiance.
It's an absolutely haunting concept, right? In a reality completely defined by nihilistic arithmetic, the simple act of witnessing, of honestly recording a moment, becomes the ultimate act of rebellion. So it kind of makes you think about your own life. In the face of the rising zero, what residual pulses will your ledger record? I really hope this explainer sparks some thoughts for you, and I definitely encourage you to keep diving into these dark, fascinating themes. Thanks for exploring this with us today.